Hey everyone! Welcome to another wonderful episode of Wise Wind Down. Clink, 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 clink. Yes, welcome. Tonight is the night. Hey Jackie, hey Renita. Oh, I love y'all so much. Hey Nakisha. Welcome. I'm your host, Shonda Brown White, and this is Wise Wind Down. It's Wednesday. It's time to grab your girls, grab your drinks, whether you're drinking wine, water, whatever it is. Like, grab your drinks, grab your girls, and let's have a good time tonight. Hey, ladies. Hey, 𝗓𝗓𝘂𝘃. Aw. Hey, Yvette. I'm going to add you on in just a second, girl. Aw. Hey, Angela. Yes, welcome. Shout out to all my day ones who have been here since the beginning. I'm so excited. And if this is your first time joining, hey, Claudine. If this is your first time joining, welcome. We are so excited. This is a safe place for us to just let our hair down, have some fun, but also have some real talk just about things in general. And I've been married for 12 years now. And I remember when I first got married, I was like, trying to navigate like being a wife. And I was like, what does that mean? Because we always talk about like how to get a man, how to find a man, all that stuff. But then I was like, well, what does it mean to be a wife? Like what happens after that, after you say I do? And, we would have like little spats or little situations and issues or heated fellowships, as my girl Renita likes to call them. And, I would just feel like, oh my gosh, what's going on with my marriage? And then when I would talk to other women, like privately and stuff, they're like, oh girl, that's normal, or that's just growing pains, or you'll get through that rough patch. And I was just like, well, why isn't anybody talking about this? And so I wanted to create this space so that whether you aspire to be married, whether you are married or you're engaged to be married, I wanted to create this space so we could just have some fun, but also just keep it real about the highs and lows and the wonderful, beautiful picture of marriage, and just pull back the curtain on what it means to not just get married, but to stay married. And so I love talking to women about this and the powerful stories. And we have an awesome, incredible guest tonight. I'm so excited. Yeah. But yes, thank you. I see y'all in the chat. So again, if you're just joining, thank you so much. If this is your first time, I hope you'll come back. And for those who have been holding it down with me, I appreciate y'all so much. So without further ado, let me welcome on our guest tonight, and then I'll introduce her to everyone. Y'all are in for a treat tonight. I already know. Hey, Princess. Hey, Miss K. Yes, Claudine. She watched on Black Love. Hey.
Hi.
Let me just say thank you so much before we even get into it, because I know you are on a social media break, which I take those as well. And so I do not take it lightly that you are, staying committed to you, or basically honoring your commitment. So I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem. Yes. So before we get into it, I want to introduce you to the people. Okay. So Miss Yvette, for those of y'all who may not know her, but a lot of y'all I'm sure know her because y'all was already reaching out like, oh my gosh. She's a wife, mom, daughter, sister, friend, former teacher. Yvette and her husband have been married for 10 years and are the creators and hosts of the podcast, How Married Are You? They were also featured on the latest season of the hit show Black Love on the OWN network. Personally, one of my favorite couples. Yvette is a mom to 4 beautiful chocolate babies, as she likes to call them. And you can also follow along and listen as Yvette shares out loud her journey towards finding herself again on her podcast, Yvette Unplugged. So everyone, clap it up in the chat and give it up for Yvette or Mrs. Melanin.
I should have you write all my bios, because I sure didn't give that to you. And every time somebody asks me for a bio, I'm like, I don't know what to say. That was well done. Thank you.
I got you, boo. I got you. I like to write, so I got you if you need a little something. I got
you might just need to slide that into my email real quick.
I got you, girl. And you can feel free to edit it as you please. Listen, you have 4 children, so I'm like, I know hashtag mommy brain is a real thing. So I'm like, what? I'm just going to put something together. But how have you been doing, especially, during the quarantine and everything? How have you been feeling?
Whew. You are asking me that question during a time that I am not doing well. But I am okay. Like, we have been dealing with quite a bit of stuff over the past week and more. And so, it's just, I always think of that one song as this joy that I have The world didn't give it to me. And so I think if I keep that in mind, oh my gosh, I need one of those.
Amazon, I'll order you one, sis. I got you if you need
Oh
me
my
to.
gosh. I haven't seen one of those since I was sitting in the pews. Oh my gosh. I
Listen.
need that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It has
Anyway.
got the Black national anthem in there and everything. Lift
Oh,
every
yeah,
voice
no,
and
I
sing.
know that hymn though. That hymn though looks very familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I just feel like that's kind of what I've been trying to cling to is like I can't let other people rob me of my joy. And even in the midst of the things that I'm experiencing, I'm still very aware of God's presence and the fact that He is working things out, you know, for me. And so I'm trying not to allow myself to be overcome by certain circumstances or situations that may be going on in my life. It's definitely easier said than done, and it's definitely an intentional mindset that I have to have, but I am working on it. And sometimes just the simple thing of smiling is very helpful to like push through the bull skittles, the bull stuff. Anyways.
No, that's real. This is what this platform is all about. We just keep it real, and that's why I always like to ask how you guys are doing, because you just never know, and it's honest because we have ebbs and flows in life, and so for you
Yes.
to be open and transparent about that, like, and just in what you just said about not allowing anyone else to steal my joy, like that's a word. Like somebody needed to hear that, because someone else on here, even when they listen to the replay, they might feel like, okay, I can't let anybody steal my joy, because it's especially with
Yeah,
social media, that's very easy to do sometimes.
indeed.
Mm-hmm,
Indeed.
mm-hmm. That's good. Speaking of your social media break, you and Glenn recently declared and like kind of reminded yourselves that like your marriage comes first.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw where you guys decided to take a pause on like releasing new episodes of your podcast. But I wanted to ask you, like, what does putting your marriage first look like for you guys now versus like maybe a few months ago? Like, what does that entail for both of you?
Hmm. That's a really good question. I think that it's things like protecting our boundaries. We have been really faithful about having a date night. Like tonight is date night. Um, no, you're fine. It starts in an hour. So as soon
Okay,
as this
okay,
is over,
okay.
he's gonna come scoop me up and then we go out. But like, and it's like lately, it's kind of been like reminding ourselves how we have fun. So we've been spending our date nights playing tennis. Um, and it's just been, it's like you got your buddy back. Because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for us, so much of our life lately has been navigating like being entrepreneurs and raising four kids and all the things. And so, like finding those things that allow us to have fun, making sure we protect the boundaries of certain time that we have together. We recently, so last year, we started marriage therapy, couples therapy, and then we stopped so that because Glenn was really connecting with our therapist, so we stopped so that he could do individual therapy, which I thought was going to be like phenomenal, and that was what we needed. So we were both in our own therapy, but recently we realized that we needed to go back to couples therapy.
Yes.
So us prioritizing each other is saying, okay, I know this is a lot, like that there's a lot of processing going on here with you in therapy and me in therapy, but we still need our couples therapy. So that is another way that we are prioritizing each other as well. But I even think it looks like us allowing each other to like have our own space. Um,
Mm-hmm.
for example, like we have both committed to working out and just being able to do that. Glenn allows me to have like time to do like these away from
Yes.
like the role of motherhood, because you know that like just is a thing where you're doing it all the days of the days. I mean, all the hours of the days. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's trying to honor each other in that way.
Mm-hmm. That's honest. Claudine said having a business with your spouse is a whole nother level. I feel
Oh
you
my gosh.
100. And Angela said that buddy status is important. We got to
Yeah.
have fun in addition to all the things we do. Like it, like you said, in all the things, the entrepreneurship, the mommyhood, the daddyhood,
Yeah.
the interacting with social media and your followers. Like we got to get back to us. So I don't have children, so I can't say that I understand in terms of being a mommy, but there are a lot of moms on here that I know can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
Need your mommy me time. So speaking of like podcasts and stuff, on one of your episodes of How Married Are You, you referenced this quote that I loved. It says, sometimes we create our own heartbreak through expectation, which rings so true. And in that episode, you all kind of talked about how you had these unmet expectations, and especially because you were used to your dad growing up and how he took care of you. So then when you got married, you're like, okay, well, I expect you to do the same thing or some of those things.
Gosh.
And that didn't necessarily happen. So will you share kind of just like an example of what some of those unmet expectations were in the relationship between both of you all, and then like how you all overcame that?
Let's start with Glenn's expectations. Glenn don't be having expectations. Like it's a protective thing for him. It's something that he has grown up or grown into, where it's like, I try not to expect anything of anybody, therefore I won't be disappointed.
Yes.
So his expectations of me were very low, I guess. I would say. I think he would probably be better off answering that question, but that's what he has expressed in the past. For me, I grew up where like my dad would kind of like at certain points in the week, usually on a Sunday, just take all the cars and fill them up with gas, or he'd be like, hey daughter, like your tires need to be rotated. So he'd like indicate to me, hey, you need to go get your tires rotated. He would do my oil changes. He actually taught Glenn how to do oil changes.
Hallelujah.
He it was just like all kinds of things. And then in my own mind, I was building like expectations as well, that like he would go to college and get a degree and do all the things. Like entrepreneurial life never was a thing for me. Like I didn't see a lot of people doing that growing up, and so it was never anything that I aspired to do. I always saw people working like an 8 to 5 or a 9 to 5, whatever it is, and it wasn't something that was a norm for me. And so that's new for us. But those were some of the expectations I had, that he would like work a job and come home, and that we would travel together because I was a teacher when we first got married. So it was like we would travel during the summers, and he would enjoy traveling, but he didn't enjoy traveling because he traveled all the time for music, and it kind of became more of a burden, or like a it wasn't fun for him anymore. And so, and he's more of a homebody, but I'm more of a like, let's get up and go. Or I'm more of a person who's like, oh, my friend just showed up at the door without calling me. That's okay. Like, come on in. And he's like, whoa. Like, you didn't call. You need to go. So it's just all the things. And we've worked through those. We have started to learn each other. We're still learning each other. I think we will forever be students of each other, and learning how to love ourselves and each other in a way that fits the season that we're in, because we change, like things change. So
that is so good. And I like how you talked about expectations beyond just like roles and responsibilities, because so often we only think about expectations of, well, I expect you to sweep the floor or do this, whereas it went beyond that, which I think sometimes we have that issue, that underlying issue, and don't even realize that that's what the issue is. Like, my expectations of you are different from who you really are. So it's like, no, you don't really like to be a homebody, or you don't like to go out, but I do. So it's like trying to find that happy medium. I can totally relate to that. Like, I'm the like, let's go somewhere, and Eric's like, quarantine is my dream, basically.
Oh my gosh, that is Glenn. Glenn is he is like, oh yes, this is nice.
My husband
like,
says,
you guys literally can't come over.
He's like, I've been quarantining my whole life. This ain't new to me. I'm like, well, this wasn't my life. But definitely finding that happy medium and learning. Like, I love how you said learning each other in different seasons too, because that's so important, because we're constantly evolving and changing. Speaking of like changing and evolving, I love your personal podcast, Yvette Unplugged, and especially the episode about people pleaser. I know you're like, this is for me, but I'm like, no, sis, that was for me, because I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Oh my gosh.
So that was definitely one of my favorite episodes. But you've talked about this openly, and a part of the purpose of your podcast is so that you can share the journey of like finding yourself again. When on your journey do you feel like you lost yourself?
Mm. I know that's a really good question, because the question is, was there ever a point when I really did know myself?
Mm.
And I don't know that there was ever a point. I think when I look back on my childhood, um, I kind of fell into a certain version of Yvette
Mm.
that seemed to work well with everyone else. Like everyone else was, I like this Yvette, like I like this Yvette. And there wasn't really this push to like discover things about myself and who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's kind of where the people pleaser came. Like, I think my love language has always been words of affirmation. And so whenever I would like do things or accomplish things, and then people would speak highly of me and whatever, it just kind of became a part of my identity. And as I look over the course of my life, I so feel as though um, I have kind of just been this version of me that I feel like works well, or
Mm.
that's safe, or that makes sense, or that like this seems like the appropriate next step.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I don't know, man. Like I don't know that I ever knew myself. And so I can't say that I ever lost myself, but I think with each new role that I have taken on, it has just kind of like when I became a wife, it was like I was trying to like fit the mold of what I think this man that I've chosen to spend the rest of my life with expects of me. Even though
Mhm.
he had no expectation, it was just kind of like, this is what I'm supposed, like this is what I've seen modeled for me in the past.
Yes.
Therefore, this is who I am. And then I became a mom, and then it was like, oh, you know what I mean? It was just
Yeah.
kind of like
It's like
I
layers.
I say this all the time, and I still can't remember where I heard it, but I've heard it said that motherhood is the biggest identity thief. And I, like sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to say that, but I do feel like it is a thing. It is definitely a thing. And
Mhm.
I've finally come to a place in my life where I realize that so much of what I do is for other people and not so much for me. And it brings about a lot of discontentment. And I am so tired of the lack of contentment in my life. And so, therefore, I am okay with choosing me and showing up for myself. I actually just released an episode of Yvette Unplugged today, where I was talking to Cody Elaine Oliver from the Black. She's actually the founder of
Yeah, she's been on
Black
Wise
Girl.
Right Down. That's my girl.
Oh, yay.
Hmm.
And we were kind of talking about how like self-care is sometimes just showing up for yourself in the way of, this is what I really want to be doing. And like sometimes, like I was saying on the podcast, was like, like sometimes when I say yes to this, like when I do Yvette Unplugged, and I'm like, it's not making me any money. It's just something I do, right? But
Exactly.
that's like 45 minutes that I'm spending away from my kids. So I'm like saying yes to Yvette Unplugged and no to my kids. And sometimes I start to feel mom guilt, but it's like, no, showing up to do that, something that like gives me life, and that is what I kind of feel like is a ministry to for some, um, is also a form of self-care. And so I don't know. It's just, it is what it
They
is.
all in the chat saying deep, somewhat purpose and poems. She said that's so real and I can totally relate. Like
Mm-hmm.
1,000%. Like I always say that sometimes a yes for yourself is a no for
Yeah.
everybody else. And that's okay.
And that's
Like
okay.
it's totally okay. I
You
just
don't have to
started.
apologize.
You don't. Like my no can be firm and polite at the same time. And even if it isn't polite, guess what? It's okay to say no. And I just
Mm-hmm.
fit no into my vocabulary within like the last year and a half. So when
Mm-hmm.
let me I and the fact that you went back like thinking about how you showed up as someone like as a different version of yourself to appease people, like that just hit home. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that was me. Like I totally understand that, and like you're feeling like, oh, this should be the next move versus this is what I feel God is calling me to do, or this is what I feel like my next move should be versus, well, it seems like I should be doing that. It's like
Yeah.
no, like knowing and honing in on like what God has given me, which
Yeah.
I love how you said choosing yourself, because you have this beautiful quote one of your blog posts, and you said it's basically a verse that means a lot. It's John 15:16.
Oh my gosh.
And it says, you didn't choose me. This is basically God talking to us. You didn't choose me. Remember, I chose you and put you in the world to bear fruit that won't spoil. As fruit bearers, whatever you ask the Father in relation to me, he gives you. So what does that mean to you, like right now in your life, and in terms of like encouraging other women who feel like maybe they doubt, you know, what God has called them to do, or where they're leading, or just trying to like choose everything else except for themselves? Like, what does that mean, that verse mean to you now in this stage in your life?
You know, I don't know if I'm about to answer this question in the context of what you're asking it. But when you read that out loud, it was actually a huge encouragement to me in what we are walking through. Right now, my husband and I are dealing with a situation in which it could probably it's actually very discouraging. And it makes me personally question, like, why do we choose to share our lives the way that we do? And the truth of the matter is that there are so many people who get to glean so much like insight and wisdom and all the things from us, like having the How Married Are You podcast, having the Yvette Unplugged podcast, sharing our lives on belief in fatherhood. And like when Satan starts to see that how the Lord is enlarging your territory, he uses people and things to try to like just nip at it and like really like discourage you and put doubt in your mind that you are actually doing what God chose you to do. And so when you read that, I received that word, even though that was scripture that you were reading. It was a post that I wrote, but it was like, yeah, like God chose me to be on this path, to parent those kids, to be married to this man, to share our lives the way that we do so that we can change the narrative of how people are seeing Black families, and even just like keeping it real in our marriage. Like, y'all, my brother and his wife are here right now visiting. And I was like, oh my gosh, guys, this month marks 6 months of marriage. And I was like, how y'all doing? And they were just like, oh my gosh, it has been work. And I was like, yes, it has been work. And it's going to be work for years and years and years. But it's so worth it when you choose like a person that you really like love and can do life with, and who's like your buddy. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know, man. You reading those words to me, like in this moment, I'm like, yeah, like God, you chose me. And there is nothing that is a mystery to him. There is nothing that is brought in before me that he didn't call me to. And so in this moment, the things that I'm walking through, it is growing pains. It is growing pains. But he is faithful to complete the work in me, and I am just excited. And that's what I mean when I say this joy that I have, the world didn't give it, and they can't take it. And I am just, you know, I don't know. I am good.
Yes.
I feel encouraged sitting here talking to you. I don't know. I feel like maybe I just need to talk to somebody. Thank you.
Listen, it's so funny how the Lord will use, like you said, you wrote that, and that was something that you were sharing, even though, you know, it's the word, but you share that, but now it's being like, I wrote that at that time, not knowing that a few years later I was going to need that again.
Right now.
Woo.
Yeah.
Woo, I felt that. I felt that. Oh, that is deep. That is so deep. Somebody said, amen. Yes, taking us to church all the way. Renita said, come on, listen. Woo, that's deep. Switching gears just a little bit, just to touch on this, a few questions. I want to talk about sex just a little bit. I checked out the After Love episode with you and Glenn, and I loved it. Listen, our backgrounds are like very parallel. And so the whole being raised in church and sex, I wasn't a virgin when I got married, but my husband and I decided to be celibate once we got together. And we was like, okay, let's get our lives together. Cause like, we need to make sure we do something different, because we was like, we need to try something different, because everything else clearly wasn't working. So, so I could relate in like growing up, all you heard was like, close your legs. And, you know, the only thing to say open late at night is gas stations and lit. It was like, it was so negative, you know. It was just like, don't have sex, you're gonna get pregnant. Like, that's all we heard. Like, a lot of us, not everybody, but I could totally relate when you talked about that. So, when I got married, at times I struggled with like embracing sex as this beautiful natural thing, even though I had sex, but it was like the freedom of it, and like to really like go at it with my husband. It's like I had to unbrainwash myself from like thinking that I was just going to be condemned to hell. Even though I was married, I still had to like, and still working through that. So I wanted to know, like, if you, like me, did you ever feel at times like almost like a mental twilight zone, like I have to like relearn all of this all over again, like I'm like my mind is confused?
In order to relearn, I guess, because I was like, in order to relearn something, you have had to learn it.
True.
And that was the problem, is that I was never taught anything about it. And the crazy thing about that whole after love situation is that they posted a clip of it on Instagram, and the comments were crazy on that. People were like, she is lying. I do not believe her, but I promise it is the truth. Like, literally, no one told me anything. That was the message that I was getting. It wasn't until my first year of marriage that one of my girlfriends, who actually was, I don't want to give away too many details because I don't want people to know who she was, but one of my girlfriends taught me how to put a tampon in. Like, that's how. Me too. In college. I mean, but I was like 23 plus learning that. So I literally, people are like, she didn't know where it went. I'm like, I didn't know what was going where. Not a thing. And so
I believed you, sis.
Thank you. I know. I'm like, man, is there really people out there that don't believe that this is possible? Because it really is possible. It's so possible. I was completely sheltered. And the sad thing is, I think it wasn't until like 7 years into our marriage that I actually experienced true freedom of like sex. Like, to know that like this was something that wasn't just a marital obligation to my husband, but this was actually something designed for me to enjoy. Yes. And now that I can actually enjoy it, I'm like, well, hello, sir. You know, like, it's just a whole different vibe when it comes to that time and that level of intimacy. And I can even now understand the importance of that connection within marriage. Like, before, it was at a point where I was like, I could go months at a time without it. I'm good. But now I realize even like the emotional impact, or like how you were talking about earlier, how like the prioritization of that is important for our marriage. And you know when things are off. And even when you're arguing, sometimes all it takes is a little bit of intimacy to just kind of like help stuff melt away. So I don't know. Yeah. And you said you just want to talk about it for a short period of time, and I totally want to respect your time. But I just want to say that I am totally comfortable talking about it. And so like, that's not something you have to do for my benefit. I'm cool.
I just knew, because I watched the whole episode, because of course I have the app, because Cody knows I love me some Black love, like, since day one. I'm like, but I didn't want to make you, like, I didn't want to like bring that up, because I saw comments and I was like, y'all are ridiculous. Like, and even in this chat, there are people that are saying like, I was the same way. And even like, I wasn't a virgin, but the tampon thing, same thing. Like, my friend had to teach me, and I was in college, which is probably TMI, but we keeping it real. But it's honest, and I just wanted you to know that like, we believed you, and not that you needed my validation or confirmation.
Actually, I might need it. I'm like, I know I'm not the only one. Can somebody please stand up? Because literally no one was standing up for me. And I saw Glenn typed in the comments. He's like, y'all, I was there. He's like, he's telling me the truth.
Yeah.
But
And like you
yeah.
said, it's kind of sad that people think that like that's not possible, but it is. And speaking of being possible, like during your journey, because I get asked this a lot because people know like through my books and stuff, they know kind of about my celibacy journey.
Hmm.
But was there ever a time, especially because you were a virgin, was there ever a time that you felt like I'm never gonna find someone to love me because I am a virgin? Because people reach out to me all the time about that. But did you ever feel like that, like when you were dating and before you met Glenn?
I never felt like that, but I did not have the expectation to marry a male virgin. I didn't expect for my husband to be a virgin,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because there are a lot of women who like pray for that or even expect that. But for me, I was like, I know these boys out here just being stupid. so,
Right.
so for me, it wasn't an expectation of my husband, and I didn't necessarily see it as being a defect of me. But I think a part of my journey is that like I didn't date a lot. Glenn
Mm-hmm.
was literally my first legit boyfriend, and then I
Oh.
ended up marrying him. And then that the like male interest that I entertained prior to him, um, like that just kind of never came up because we never got to that point, like where sex was even like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it was known just because of who I was. I'm a virgin. I was like the good church girl.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It wasn't something that's just not my story, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
Someone asked earlier, hey girl Mel, thanks for your question. She said, did Glenn know that you struggled in that way? I don't know if struggle is the word, so forgive me, but he absolutely like he knew your path. And even on the show, you guys talked about how he actually wanted to like not kiss before y'all got married.
I mean, we are hilarious. When I think back on just like that whole situation, yeah, he didn't want to kiss. And then we actually ended up kissing. And he was like, well, and then actually that kiss is what made us have the DTR to say, okay, well, now you're my girlfriend.
Right. That's it.
Because before we were just, what's it called? Talking court? I don't
Yep.
know what it's called. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what the correct vocabulary is. But initially we were just, hanging out, getting to know each other, and then it got to that moment, and he was like, "Well, you're my girlfriend now." So that's funny. Actually, March 13th is our boyfriend girlfriend anniversary. So that's
Oh,
it's our
yay.
month. It's our month. Hopefully, he's watching this and he remembers, because
That's actually, is that when we shut down too? Not to rain on the parade, but I'm
Oh
like,
my
I
gosh!
think it's when we shut down too.
I
But
guess
look,
it's a double whammy.
yeah, but look at you guys making it
Yeah,
through,
we are.
making
We
it.
are.
I think it's a sign that like, yes, when y'all met, and even through this quarantine, you're still together.
Amen, sister, because a lot of people aren't, unfortunately.
I'll be telling them, tell them, sis. Um, so there's a beautiful quote that you have about the whole idea of falling in love, which I love. And you
Mm,
said, love is a choice, not a fall. Some
mm,
days the choice to love him was easier than others. Some days I didn't choose him at all. Some days he had to remind me to choose him. Will you
mm.
expound on that just a bit more for us and just like explain like what choosing and making that choice is like for you, even it sounds like maybe even on a daily basis. I know what you mean, but for those who may not understand, tell us about that.
Ah, I'm trying to think of like a very abbreviated, short answer. Um, but ah, it's a choice, y'all. It's a choice. It's like you I think a lot of people romanticize love
Mm,
to a point where it's like, oh, one day I'm gonna like fall in love. And it's not a lot of people doing it. It's actually the media doing it for us. And then it's us like feeling inclined to like portray certain images on social media of like love, but we don't it's like literally social media is a highlight reel, which is why I think sometimes I just have to get off of it,
yes.
because I'm realizing. And then that's also sometimes why I try to like share the work that's being done, because even us, like even Glenn and I, people are like, oh, goals, like couples goals, and I'm like, y'all just don't know, like it is work. Like to be in love and to stay in love, it is a choice. You have to choose to love him. Like, love is an action. And I think we've all heard that a lot of different times. And for me, like, I actually just, it's funny because this book is right here. If you have not read Keep Your Love On by Danny Silk, it is a very good book. But he actually talks about, hold on real quick. Hold on.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Give it to us.
I'm so sorry. But
No.
he talks about,
this is good.
He talks about like the levels of, oh my goodness. You guys probably thinking, well, that's not a good book. She can't even remember what he talks about.
No, it happens to me all the time.
Oh gosh, hold on. Okay, here it is. He calls them levels of intimacy, right? And he even talks about how like Jesus prioritized certain relationships over others. And he even like goes as far as talking about the 12 disciples, and within the 12 disciples there was levels of intimacy within that. And there was one point in here where he says, only person who is going to fit into, so it's first the God spot. So like God belongs like in your innermost circle. And then he calls it the next level of intimacy is for your most intimate human relationship, your deepest soul tie. Only one person is going to fit into that spot. If you are married, this should be your spouse. But then he goes on later to say, like, if you get divorced and then you remarry, it should still be your spouse if you have children. Like, sometimes, like, children can try to, like, fit into that spot, but it's not for your child. It's for your husband. And so I think for me, like, sometimes it's easier to show up for my children than it is for my husband, because their needs are more obvious and, like, I don't want to say practical. That doesn't seem like a very good word, but that's the only word that's coming to my mind right now.
Yeah.
But their needs are just, it's like, oh, you need to eat? I'm going to feed you. Oh, you need to go to sleep? Let me just rub your back to while you go to sleep. But for my husband, on the other hand, his needs are not that like black and white, you know, like, so for me, choosing to love him is like choosing to really like get in there and be like, okay, can we talk about it? You don't want to talk? Okay, no. Like, just getting to know him in a way that speaks his love language. I don't know if I'm really answering that question, but it's like a choice. It's like you have to choose to show up however that looks. You just got to show up. And yeah, that's what I mean by that.
I think you
absolutely. The book is called Keep Your Love On. I saw somebody ask. Keep Your Love On by Danny Silk. It's really good, y'all. It's really good.
And I think that also speaks to, I'm writing that down. I think it also speaks to, like you had said before on your post or something, it's been, or I think it was on your podcast, it's been hard, but it's not difficult to keep my vows.
Yes.
And I was like, ding, 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 ding. Because some people I feel like are turned off when we say, you know, marriage takes work. And they're like, oh, it's all. And I'm like, but anything, like if you want to be an Olympian, if you want to be great, an entrepreneur, like it's going to take effort and you still are going to love it. Like you're like, being a mom, like it takes work. So I'm like, I don't know why like people just give us a side eye when we say things like that. But I like how you said it's hard, but not difficult to keep my vows. Because to me, that goes deep. That goes to that core of like the love. At the core of it all is that love.
And it reminds me of another quote that's like, marriage is hard, divorce is hard, choose your heart. Like, it's like you choose. You have a choice to choose it. Either way, it's going to be hard. You just have to choose which heart you're going to work through. So.
Ooh, yes. I think I got a question that came. Oh, somebody asked about the name of the book. I think we got it, though. Keep Your Love On was the name of the book. Somebody said kids' needs are more transparent, so I completely understand. And I love that. I love that, like, somebody else said so many women can relate. You took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you, Celtic Sea Salt. But yes, so many women can relate to that, especially from what I've heard and what I've observed, especially when you have children. And I think it just hones in on the point about being intentional too when you're married. Like, intentionality is so important for us. and for them. Like,
Yeah.
it's so important to be intentional.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. This has been incredible. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now it's time for somebody said social media is an unrealistic visual on real life. Now let me tell y'all something. All I got to say about this is I love couples like you and Glenn and so many. I could go on and on, who I feel like share the ebbs and lows, and that we ain't got to know all our business, but you all keep it real. We keep it honest. I try to keep it real about certain stuff, but you have to be careful who y'all following and who you watching and who you getting so-called relationship advice from. You just have to be careful about what you're feeding into your mind about relationships and these so-called relationship goals. So just be mindful of that, because there are some really great people and pages out there, but you have to be mindful of that. Someone asked, how do you really learn the love languages of your children? Oh, that's a good question.
You know, I think it becomes like just observations. Like, I know they have like a 5 love languages for children, but for me, it's just being aware of what the love languages are and then watching how they interact. My daughter is physical touch. She's always asking for love. She wants to cuddle. So, you know, we embrace. My oldest, Theophilus, I think his love language is words of affirmation. Like, he loves to be affirmed. He loves to be told he's doing a good job. He's a good leader. He's a good brother. Uriah, I would say his love language is gifts.
That's
He
me.
loves he loves getting stuff. And Uzi, I think it's too early to tell, but you just like, as long as you are aware of what the love languages are, you have a you mindfulness of them, and you just kind of pay attention to when your kids seem to like be whatever, then yeah. But I think all of them enjoy quality time for sure. But yeah.
That's great. That's a great answer. Yeah. Somebody said all the chocolate babies. Listen, the chocolate babies are something else. Like,
Yes,
when
they
their
are.
smiles, when they smile, it's just like, I just want to like, I'm like, give me all y'all's kids.
Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for those kids. I am so
Mm,
grateful.
I love that. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the rapid fire round. I'm just have
Okay.
some questions I want to ask you, just people to get to know you, things about marriage. And I call it just rapid fire round because they're usually just quick and fun. But are you ready?
Yes. You
Okay,
didn't
and
tell me these before, right? I looked through the email. I was like, I don't see the questions.
no,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
no,
Okay. Okay.
that's what makes it more fun.
Okay. So I
And
hope it's
ladies,
rapid.
right. And ladies, those tuning in, make sure y'all drop y'all's comments in the chat if y'all want to respond as well. Sometimes it gets a little heated or controversial. It don't get controversial, but except when we talk about toilet paper, but that's a whole other story.
Okay.
PDA, here for it or no?
It depends. It depends. I like, you know, kisses, hugs, but don't be like all gross about it. Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a little tap on the butt, okay, but like, come on now, just some things just need to.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I say I get it, but I'm probably also guilty of it sometimes. Who takes longer to get ready?
Glenn.
Mm,
I'm a very like, all I gotta do is put my hair up, put a head wrap on, and wash my face. Like, I am very, let's just go. I don't even wear makeup. Your makeup looks beautiful tonight, though. For
oh,
real.
thank you.
I'm gonna
Listen,
need somebody to come live over here that can do my makeup, because sometimes I'll be wanting to wear makeup and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. What do I
girl,
do?
I've been using the same. I went to the counters years ago, and I use the same methods they taught me. I'm like, now how do I do the highlighter? And every year I learn. I'm like, this year I'm gonna master mascara. It's like each
Ah,
year I take on something
maybe
new.
I
But
should
thank
do that. Yeah, that's a good idea. I
you.
like that.
I
Okay.
I can't do all that YouTube chat, the like the beauties. I can't. It's too. I'm like, now what? I gotta buy how much? I can't. It's too much. So I
It
can
gets
do a little bit.
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. But you be rocking those head wraps. Let me tell you. I'm like, dang. Like, I
Thank
love
you.
them. Every rip. Okay, I digress. Which TV wife do you relate to the most?
Hmm.
Claire Huxtable, the
Mm,
original Vivian from The Fresh Prince,
mm,
Rochelle from Everybody Hates Chris, or
mm,
Rainbow from Blackish?
mm. Okay, not Rainbow, not Rochelle.
Okay.
Um, okay, Claire Huxtable or Vivian?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I think I'm a cross between the two. I'm gonna go with Claire Huxtable because my husband has a huge crush on her. So
Yeah.
I'd be like, you know what? He married me. He has a
Right.
crush on her, so maybe there's something here with that. I don't know.
Yes. We'll take it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll take it. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
with that one. That's my final answer.
Yes, I love it.
But I
Claudia,
do think that Vivian's attitude is a lot more the original one. The
yeah,
original
the
Vivian
original.
is probably more my I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, Claire Huxtable.
Yeah, okay, we'll take it. And Claudine said, she said, you look great with a natural face. And you absolutely do, sis.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Somebody
Thank
said,
you.
yes, ma'am, like the wrap you're wearing now. Fire.
I
I
have this
assume
in
that's what
like
she's saying.
4 or 5 different colors, y'all. It's my favorite one.
It's
Let me tell
pretty.
your listeners really quick though. If you use
Go
the
ahead.
discount code Mrs. Melanin 10 at the Wrap Life, you can get 10% off. But anyways, go ahead.
Y'all
Sorry.
heard it. One of y'all, I know one of my day ones, drop it in the chat. I know y'all be looking out for me and y'all be typing in the chat for me. Who's more of the morning person?
Me.
Oh, you can
Mm-hmm.
have it. Who's more likely to leave a pile of clothes around?
Glenn.
Okay, all right. And he
I
takes a lot
mean,
to get ready.
I do struggle with laundry, but like from the first day of marriage, this man would like come in from work and it was like, and then I would get home after him, but it was like before, like when he came in, he would just strip and there would just be
Yes.
clothes. There's like literally a trail from the door to the couch. And I'm like, I mean, we just couldn't get to one spot, at least take it all off and then, it's just Glenn,
Yep.
for sure, Glenn. Love him.
Yep. It's like, what is this trail you have created? Who's more likely to cook?
Well, in this season, me, but he is definitely the better cook. Like, he
Mm.
needs to be, he just doesn't have time. He enjoys cooking, but he just doesn't have time anymore. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's a very sad situation for both parties involved.
Yes, because y'all are booked and busy, let me tell you.
Yeah, yeah,
Who's more likely to initiate cuddling?
me.
Oh, I love it. Is that maybe that's their second love language, touch?
I mean, well, his love language is touch, but he just wants to get straight to the point. So,
Well, yes. Mm-hmm. I just love how real you are. Yes.
yeah.
I'm
I
like, can I?
really want to be just Netflixing and chill, and he wants to Netflix and chill. It's just
Right,
like,
Netflix and chill, chill.
yeah.
I
Hmm.
get it. Hair scarf on or off during sex?
Ah, ugh. He likes it off, so I guess that's it. That's it. It's off.
Yeah. Oh,
But you know what? I just want to say, as a black woman, that's super attractive because it's like I have natural hair and he likes my natural hair. So,
yeah.
like, yeah, I don't know. It is. It makes me feel some kind of way too. So, there you have
Same. I feel
it.
you. I feel you. Yes. Somebody
Yeah.
said straight to the point. These husbands ain't about the cuddle life.
Mm-mm. Not at all.
Right. What's your personal favorite Black love movie of all time?
Love and basketball.
It's always a popular one.
I own it. I
Okay.
have it.
Okay. Yes, yes. And the last one, what do you love most about being married?
Oh man. Um, it's just, I don't know. What do I love most? I think it's just the fact that I get to do life with him forever. Like he's going to be able to walk through all these different seasons with me, and he is getting to experience all the different versions of me, and he still stays around. Like he's here.
Mhm.
Um, and I know that it could change. Like I feel like he could probably go away at some point if he wanted to, but I just have confidence that the Lord joined us together, and
Mhm.
what God has joined together, um, it is going to do well. And so I don't know. I just am excited. Like I really look forward to us being empty nesters. Um, I'm trying to embrace like all the seasons
Mhm.
that I am experiencing. Like I know like I'm watching my youngest about to be 2 in June, and I'm just like, yikes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want you to grow up. Like, I want a cuddle buddy. But at the same time, it's a beautiful thing to be able to see children grow
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to experience so much life with someone. So I actually look forward to us being empty nesters and being able to just enjoy the two of us again.
Mm. Oh, that's beautiful. Somebody said highs and lows, someone that has your back. I love that. Said you have
Mm-hmm.
the best answers that could never be taken wrong. And someone looks like a special guest. B.A. Given says, "Can I just say that Yvette is one of my favorite persons ever? I love her heart. She's a great person. Period. I've enjoyed watching this. Love, Mom."
That's my mama. Hi, mama.
Ain't nothing like a mother's love. Let me tell you.
Let me tell you.
Listen.
Let me tell you.
Um.
She is literal mom goals, y'all. She's mom goals. I want to be like her when I grow up.
Well, if you are the least bit of reflection of her, then I know she's a beautiful, wonderful,
Yeah.
down to earth person because you are that to a lot of us. And I know we don't know each other
Mm,
personally, even though I feel like I know you. And I know that you sharing so much, and that you and Glenn and sharing your family, I know that's a lot. And I know that not so much pressure, but there's things that come with that. And so I just want you to personally know that I don't take that lightly, what you share and what you all give and what you all sacrifice to
mm,
encourage and to empower and to give hope to people who maybe didn't see this growing up. And they're like, oh, at least Glenn, I see them, Glenn and, Glenn and you like making it happen. And so
mm-hmm.
I appreciate you, and just know that your work doesn't go unnoticed. And like you said, ain't nobody gonna steal your joy. So we rooting for
Mm-mm.
y'all, and we are supporting. We are all in this together. And so to that point, I want to
Thank
toast.
you.
So grab your drinks,
I
whatever.
actually poured some lemonade in a wine glass.
Listen, we're here for it. Whatever's your fancy. Everyone, in the chat, grab your wine
I do have.
glasses. It's time. And I want you to of course, drop your the discount promo code again. But I want you to tell the people whatever most of them are following you, but tell them how they can follow you when you might be back on social media. So give her boundaries, y'all. She's
I
okay.
No, no,
But
no. I actually came back for this. Because you had emailed me and I'm like, oh shoot, I guess I should have looked at my calendar before I said I was going on a
okay.
break. But not only did I have this, but I also have to post something, like a sponsored post this week. So
Make that
if
money.
if you see that sponsored post come up, y'all, just make sure
Yes.
you just give me like 5 words and just say a little
Yes.
something something like it and all the things. But anyway,
Yes. Show her some
yeah,
love. Show her some love. And then
yeah.
let them also know what you're toasting to tonight.
Mm. What am I toasting to tonight?
I know what I'm toasting.
Um, Tonight I am toasting to enjoying some quality time with my husband. I'm leaving this live to go hang out with him for date night. So,
Yay.
yay.
Clink, 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 clink. Eye
Wait.
contact. Mm. And I am toasting to something you said earlier, to all of us and every woman tuned in to live or the replay that's going to be posted right after this. But I'm toasting to choosing myself. So
Mm,
whatever that looks like for me, whether it's spending my me time, whether that means doing something that I love just for fun. Wives Wind Down is definitely one of those things that I love. And so
mm,
thank you, Yvette, for reminding us to choose ourselves, because that is so important. It's such an important component of self-care, is choosing ourselves
yeah.
and remembering ourselves and remembering what we're passionate about and remembering what like God has called us to do. But not even just that, just remembering what we enjoy doing. So I'm
Yes.
cheersing to that. Cling, cling,
Yes.
cling, cling. Mm-mm-mm. All right. On that note, I don't want to hold you any longer because you got plans. You got date night tonight. But for those of you all who tune in tonight, thank you all so much. This was incredible. I knew it was going to be like phenomenal, but it like went so deep. And I just appreciate your yes. And I appreciate you honoring your commitment. I will have this posted right after this so you can catch up if you missed like the first half or you're like, I need to watch it again. share a friend, tell your girlfriends, and it'll be on my IGTV. And I will be back the week after next because y'all know we're on the bi-weekly schedule now because I did that for my peace of mind.
Amen, sister.
Okay, I was like, no, listen, I love y'all, but so I appreciate y'all, but thank y'all again so much for tuning in. And Yvette, I cannot thank you enough. So thank you so much for just doing this tonight and for just being you.
And I just want to say thank you for having me. I didn't know that I needed this, but it was a very pleasant experience. So thank you for having me. Thank you to those of you guys who have been listening in, and let's definitely chat again.
Yes, anytime. Well, have
All
fun
right.
on your date night.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.